Brunhilde. Take a look at that name. Just by looking at the name, you can tell that it has an umlaut in it, can't you? It has an E after the U in the first syllable. Okay. I know that this is not a course about German grammar, but I do want you to recognize this name as being German, or at least Germanic, and I want you to be able to associate it with the German language opera in this unit, and of course with the German composer in this unit. Brunhilde is a Valkyrie. Now the Valkyrie were the daughters of Wotan, the king of the gods, and they were warrior maidens whose job it was to conduct fallen heroes or warriors who had fallen in battle, to their final reward in Valhalla, the home of the gods. Brunhilde, in fact, was the favorite of Wotan's Valkyrie daughters until she disobeyed him. And that happened in the second opera of this cycle, Die Walküre, the Valkyrie. Because of his love for her, Wotan did not destroy her, as he probably should have for her disobedience, but instead he put her into a deep sleep and surrounded her with a magic ring of fire. All of these events took place before Siegfried's birth, and she seems to have been perfectly preserved until Siegfried reaches maturity and encounters her. He penetrates the magic ring of fire, he wakes her from her slumber, and the two of them fall in love with each other. Now let's focus our attention on a few details of genealogy. Notice that Brunhilde is the daughter of Wotan, and that Siegfried is the grandson of Wotan. As a matter of fact, Siegfried's mother, whose name was Sieglinde, also was a Valkyrie, and she was the sister of Brunhilde. Basically, Brunhilde is Siegfried's aunt. Now this may seem a bit shocking, but let's consider Siegfried's parentage. Siegfried's parents were Siegmund and Sieglinde. At the beginning of the second opera of the cycle, Sieglinde is the wife of a character whose name was Hunding. Siegmund, a warrior, exhausted and retreating from a battle, stumbles onto her doorstep while her husband is away. She revives him, and the two of them fall madly in love with each other. When Hunding finally arrives at home, he's struck by the fact that the two of them look so much like each other. In fact, the two of them are brother and sister, and they know it. This detail, however, does not prevent Sieglinde from leaving her husband to take up with Siegfried and to conceive a son by him. Don't you just love opera? No one seems to fret much about such details as adultery and incest. The only thing that really matters is the wonderful love between these two characters. Okay, let's get back to the business at hand. At the beginning of the fourth opera in the cycle, GDrung2, Brunhilde and Siegfried exchange engagement gifts. Brunhilde gives Siegfried her horse, Grane, and Siegfried gives Brunhilde the ring. We all know what that means, don't we? In fact, Siegfried and Brunhilde are almost immediately parted because of other people in the drama, and it is these people who want someone or something who tear the two apart from each other. In fact, there's a brother and sister pair, Gunther and GDrung2, who don't want Siegfried and Brunhilde to be together. Gunther wants Brunhilde as his bride, and Gutrune wants Siegfried as her husband. I imagine you're probably very relieved to see that Gunther and Gutrune, brother and sister, are in love with other people, aren't you? Admit it. Gunther and Gutrune both get their wish. A magic potion causes Siegfried to fall in love with Gutrune, and then Siegfried magically takes the form of Gunther and claims Brunhilde as Gunther's bride. In the process, Siegfried takes back the ring from Brunhilde. When Brunhilde reports for her wedding to Gunther, she sees that Siegfried is going to marry Gutrune at the same time. She also notices that Siegfried has the gold ring. And as you can imagine, she's not very happy about the situation. And so she betrays him. Brunhilde betrays Siegfried to Hagen. Basically, she tells Hagen how he can kill Siegfried. He has a sort of Achilles heel. Now Hagen is the half-brother of Gunther and Gutrune, and he is a Nibelung. In fact, he is the son of Alberich, the Nibelung who stole the gold from the Rhine maidens and forged it into the magic ring. The story of the stealing of the gold and its transformation into the ring is recounted in the first opera in the cycle, Das Rheingold, the Rheingold. Hagen is typical of the Nibelungs, a race of evil dwarves who own and hoard all sorts of fantastic treasures, and he wants the ring. In fact, it was he who set things into motion so that his half-brother and half-sister, Gunther and Gutrune, could break up Siegfried and Brunhilde, and in doing so he makes it possible for him to steal the ring from Siegfried. And while Hagen and Siegfried are on a hunting expedition, Hagen gives Siegfried a potion that causes him to recall something at which Hagen takes offense. Hagen thus has an excuse to kill Siegfried. He does so, and he thus believes himself positioned to be able to take possession of the ring eventually. This, however, does not happen, for Brunhilde takes back the ring from Siegfried. She promises it to the Rhine maidens upon her death. She hurls herself upon Siegfried's funeral pyre. And after the conflagration, which has consumed Valhalla as well, is over, and the Rhine has overflowed its banks, the Rhine maidens claim the ring and take it back with